continue to expand access to health care and reduce costs, and we will continue to work with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Moran.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Secretary, in the time that I've been here, you've been asked a number of times about 988. Let me just ask a specific question about your plans. Would you fill in the details on the $700 million request for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline with the opportunity to explain the reasoning behind that amount and what it would be used for?
Senator, thank you. We're finding that because we've had this patchwork, as I mentioned before, of response, and we're trying to make it into one unified response. So if you today are in D.C. and you're feeling stress, but then you travel into Maryland or West Virginia, you don't find that you lose the same access to services that you might have had if you were in one of those different locations. To make that happen so it's seamless requires a great deal of support because the states are accustomed to dealing only with the folks in their communities. We're trying to make it so that it makes no difference. If you have a area code phone from the state of Kansas, but you happen to find yourself in my state of California, you're still going to get response regardless of where you are. That requires resources. Some states have moved to actually provide a permanent line of funding for their 988 services. Others have not. We don't want to see anyone fall through the crack, and so we're working hard to provide them with services. We put in over $300 million in this current fiscal year. The President's requesting more because we know it's not just a matter of making sure the system works, but moving forward, we want to make sure that the follow-up services are available so that you don't just get a voice that says, we're here to help, but that the services will be there to follow within the states.
So is the $700 million utilized for the technology, the technology of the phone call, or in providing actual services once you get somebody on the line?
More for the services. So, for example, many states are not able to handle the call volume they get. We want to make sure that regardless of where you are, even if a state is receiving a high volume or exceeds its capacity, that call will still get answered. So we have backup call centers that are set up. That is something that we're really supporting because states, if they don't have enough in their own state, are probably not prepared to fund a callback or call them capacity. So we're trying to make sure we have those fallback centers in place.
Excuse my obtuseness, but that sounds to me as if that's the technology of the phone call, the access to reaching somebody, that's not money to provide the psychologist to talk to or the mental health counselor on the other end of the line?
The technology isn't that difficult. We're actually working with the FCC right now to try to make sure that we can make sure that those calls can be connected regardless of where the individual is and who the responder will be. So we're going through those technical aspects, but the resources are to make sure there's actually a professional, a health professional, who will be available to answer those calls. Some states, as I said, are more prepared than others. That shouldn't be a reason why an individual who's crying out for help doesn't get support.
Secretary, so if a state is lax in their implementation of this legislation, there will be a federal response to the phone call from that state?
Well, that's the thing. We don't. You all did not give us the resources or the authority to essentially run the whole lifeline. But what you did give us was the capacity to help states lift up their capacity. And so we're working very hard right now for the immediate future to make sure that July 16th, if someone calls 988, they get a response. Some states will be better prepared July 16th than others. The funding that we're requesting lets us get everybody up to speed.
I think the way I'd say what you're saying is they get a response, and the response is more than someone saying hello.
Yes.
It's the follow-on to that.
So crucial.
Yeah.
So crucial.
Okay, thank you. I was one of the original sponsors of this bill. I'm trying to figure out how, I guess what you're describing is that the legislation provides what you're supposed to do, and you're trying to do it.
Yeah, and we can provide you with an update on where Kansas is because we're providing every governor with an update every month of where they stand so they are aware of what they need to do or how well they've done.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.